What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nick Williams Show. My name is Nick Williams. I'm an independent filmmaker and producer north of Boston. Joining me today is a fellow filmmaker and a very good friend, Mr. Sam Lucca.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having
So
me.
we're talking about C-stands and a whole bunch of other crap. And but I wanted to have you on. I want to have everybody on, but I wanted to have you on because you have. Is it me or is like the film industry? Does it feel like kind of dead right now in general for creative narrative work and stuff like that? You've been doing a lot of corporate stuff, right? Ish.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been on a film set since I did that movie with Colin.
The Rhode Island one. You were on the
Uh,
movie with me.
well, it was we did a Lifetime movie together.
Hold it up close. Closer.
We did a Christmas movie together.
Oh, with the celebrity we talked. Yeah.
for-
Yeah.
So I haven't been on, honestly, like, a, yeah, I don't know. Did your movie come after that?
I don't know.
I don't I don't remember.
I don't either. But we talked
think
about
it
that.
was.
We
Maybe it
talked about
was-
that Christmas set last time you were on my show.
Yeah, so that's really the last time I've been on.
Narrative set.
Yeah, that wasn't one of me and Andrew's.
Right. Okay. So, do you want to talk about your company? Do you want to talk about what you do? I want to know what you've been up to.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
get a job at Dunkin' Donuts. You still make stuff, right? Content
Yes,
and
I still
everything.
work with audio video. So
Right.
I do a lot of live audio video.
Tell me about that. You were saying that. How did you get into doing all the live stuff as opposed to the stuff you're doing before?
I got into it with Billy. So Billy,
Put stuff.
yeah, but I don't work exclusively for.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of bizarre because I get random phone calls
Mm-hmm.
now. Just Sam, is this Sam Lucca? Yeah. Can you do these days next week at the Boston Convention Center?
Sure.
And I'm like, who is this?
Right.
And it's some company from Tallahassee or something.
But did they get your info from?
I don't know where they got my info from, but it's happened to me several times. It happens regularly.
That's nice.
It's very nice. It's very nice to get those calls
Sure.
because then I can just make my own rate and stuff. And blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is when I first did that movie with Billy in Provincetown,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he told me about we'll hire freelancers
Sure.
for live audio video. So if
Okay.
you're a grip, like stagehand would be like the entry level thing. It's a lot of like moving heavy roller cases and picking up scaffolding, and you're gripping.
Sure.
You're
Yeah. Laboring.
Yep. And then there's electricians,
Mm-hmm.
and like the mover lights. Like imagine. So basically, like pretty much every show setup is almost always the same, in the sense that they build a stage or they rig a stage, maybe if it exists already.
Mm-hmm.
But usually they bring literally stage pieces like Legos.
Yeah.
Set
They
them
click
down.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they rig that with all the wiring you need, whether it's XLR.
SDI, whole bunch of them. We don't need to name all the wires.
Don't have to
Makes
name all the
sense.
wires. Yeah. And then they set up a truss
Mm-hmm.
that goes up on motors, chains goes up, and that's rigged with like the moving lights. Sometimes they're like the Lecos.
Mm-hmm.
Other times they're motorized, and you can
Yeah.
program a show.
Yeah.
And
But like, what are the events that you're doing? Are they political events? Are they like concerts? What are they?
It's everything from galas or galas, however you pronounce that,
Yeah.
which is usually just rich people partying because they're rich.
Finding ways to write off large sums.
They're
of
like,
money.
we did it.
Yeah.
and,
Look at us.
and they spent. The photos I have are crazy. The amount of florists.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, truckloads of flowers for all these things, just
Yeah.
for like 3 hours, and then
Right.
it all gets thrown away, and it's like real flowers.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like a wedding
Or a funeral.
for like 1,000 people every time. Other times,
Are there that many
it's-
galas going on?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and it's
kinda
always for some.
Charity.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Or something charitative for-profit company did or something.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So you've been doing those, and what do you? But like, what's the?
other times it's really corporate. The last thing I did was called MathWorks, which was an international thing at the Boston Convention Center.
Mm-hmm.
1,500 people flew from around the world to take probably 100 or to 150 a breakout room is a conference room
Mhm.
with an audience setup. You can maybe put like 80 or 100 people in there with a projector and someone stands at a podium and just lecture. It's like a college lecture. It's
Mhm.
called a breakout room. Um, like that was at the Boston Convention Center. It was 5 days in a row. So you think about the money's being spent here. Everybody's flown in from China or Japan or the Middle East or any all over the world,
Mhm.
and they sit there and they talk about math.
Fun.
And there's like an hour long. It's like programmed like for an hour. We'll talk about it's like this session, and then there's like a
And there's
2 hour
a
session.
camera set up, but is it all
There's
is it
no
all
cameras for those ones. So some of
what do you need the projector for the overflow room then?
because they just use PowerPoint. So my job is to take this industrial projector, set it up. Video. They're called um, projector screens.
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
get taken out of cases, built, put up.
Mm.
It's not like it's built into the
No,
thing.
it's a bunch of little screens put together.
And we put curtains. No, no, no. It's one huge canvas, and then there's like you dress it with black curtains.
Okay, so this isn't an LED thing. It is a projector.
Yes,
Projected
it's a
screen.
project. Yeah,
Okay.
and then my job's to like you know how many speakers are there? We've got 3 microphones. What do you
Mhm.
want? Does anyone need a lavalier? Just get all that. Make sure the batteries are full. Uh, I mean, it kind of the thing is so it's so different all the time. It's live audio video. So depending on what they want to do,
Mhm.
it my job changes.
And then so then on top of that, you have your own production company,
Yeah, we've got Andrew and I are still doing Moonrise,
Moonrise Media,
which is way
and
more fun.
of course, and that's corporate work, right?
Yeah,
Mostly.
yeah, yeah.
And then you're one of the infamous Bluff Boys as well.
I am, I am.
Mhm.
Although we've been lacking. We've been lacking and slacking.
I know Andrew's called me to be in a couple of things. He's like, "I have a couple ideas," and then, like, it's
Andrew is definitely like the head honcho of Bluff Boys.
right.
He is the motivating factor, 100%.
It's not a bad thing to have, though. You gotta have one of them, you know?
It's great. I mean, it's really fun whenever we have the time to do one. Um, but he is busy doing his own thing too. He does like a lot of like music videos and content for rappers and local artists and stuff. And
Is that on his own, though, or under Moonrise?
yeah, I mean, he probably uses the Moonrise logos
Gear.
and stuff, but like, I mean, I'm not part of it, so I don't see any of that money. I do the same thing though.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, that was sort of just the deal was like, it just like looks way better. And you
Well, yeah,
really
and then
need,
if you ever did get something where, like, if you ever have a client that's like, "Hey, I have 150 grand that I need you to," you know what I mean? You can pull your team together.
yeah, here's my website.
Right.
Uh, so we split those costs and I don't know, we're just buddies, so it has not been a problem. We're not incorporated at all. We're not even an LLC. We don't
Yeah.
I can make a resume, right, and send someone my resume. I can make a demo reel and send them. But if I send someone a link to moonrisemedia.com,
Mm.
that is my resume. That is my demo reel.
Oh, yeah,
And
same.
it
Yeah, it's
looks,
yeah.
great. Like it's and it's true too. It's not like we're lying, but it costs so much to start a company. We just don't have enough. We don't have enough work to officially be like an LLC. Otherwise, we'd just be
Right.
paying like 2 grand in taxes for what? I guess theoretically, if we were to kill someone, it would be so that we could go bankrupt. We could
Yeah.
bankrupt the company instead of bankrupting ourselves. But
Yeah. I mean, it protects
blah blah
you.
blah.
Yeah.
I'm a professional, man. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
All right, so I wanted to have you on because you're a filmmaker like myself, and you told me on the phone a couple days ago when we were setting this up that you have some new stories. So tell me some new stories, man. What's going on in your life?
Well, those kind of were the stories. That's really it.
What you didn't have you even told a single fucking story yet. I just asked you what you do for a living. You said that's what I
Story.
do. I
Well,
put
what
things
I
up. Give me some crazy shit. What's going on in your life? I haven't seen you since Brittany's birthday.
right.
So what the fuck? What's going on?
Well, the thing is there's no crazy stories really because everything I'm doing is so boring. The MathWorks event, dude. I was for 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
I was just babysitting these breakout rooms. And
Okay.
I saw a lot of the people that are from the film world. So it is fun in that sense because there's a
Mhm.
lot of familiar faces. You're asking what like is the film world like dead?
Well,
I'm
it's
not
like it's in
really
a lull right now. Like I feel like
it
Billy
has to be in a lull.
Billy,
It
I'm
definitely
editing
is.
a film right now for Billy. It's an ongoing process because there's multiple vendors involved. And he stopped by and he's like, "Yeah, I've just been doing a lot of similar stuff, and
Yeah, yeah,
I've
he's
done no narrative work." And he's IATSE, like he's like a grip, like
right, right,
like
in the union, like,
he's a legit union guy who's like trying to make movies, and there's nobody's doing anything right now. Which to me is has always been an excuse to get together with your buddies and make some indie stuff. Um, but nobody's doing that either, which is annoying.
I think
Which is
it's
part of the reason I do this, because it's an excuse to get together.
I think when Billy told me about the, like, freelancing thing,
Yeah.
um, I think that was very, like, new for them. It was super new for them,
Mm,
which is why, because in the time that I really started doing it, I guess, a year-ish ago, but I started doing it, like, say, 70% of my income
mm.
freelancing and live audio video around June. And then I started from June to August, I was only making like 26 an hour. But then over the fall, I've worked my way up to 60
Not bad.
by just showing up and not messing up.
Mhm,
And because it's tiered, there's like tier one, two, and three. One being your a lead position.
mhm. But 1's the best as opposed to 3 is like
Yeah, three's entry level.
you start as a
Now you
3.
don't know how to do anything. You could I mean, as long as you got a head on your shoulders.
Yeah, you move
You
sandbags
yeah, yep.
and roll
Lug
cases
around,
around.
move that heavy thing over there.
Right, right, right.
Don't break it. Don't break anyone's body.
Yeah. How do you get from a 3 to a 2? You just show initiative, show up on time,
Yep,
be clean?
yep. And say hi to people and learn people's names and just,
"Hey, do you need help with this?"
hey, I'm interested in this.
Right.
How do I do that?
"Hey, I have"
That
yeah, yeah.
looks cool. What you're doing. What is that?
It's so funny because like, there's all these different positions and stuff, and when I first started out doing any sort of, like, film stuff outside of with my brother and sister in the backyard, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
when I was doing,
Yeah.
like, actual film stuff. You, like, PA and you grip and you try and do a couple of different things and whatever. I if I'm not this is kind of shitty to say, but it's true. If I'm not in, like, a director or, like, acting, but I mean, like, if I'm not in a position where I'm kind of more delegating I'm not a grip. I'm not gonna be I don't this is how I dress on
I'm
a
not a
regular
grip either.
basis.
That's the thing.
I'm not gonna walk around and move sandbags and all this other crap. I'd rather pay, like, 7 people to do it for me. Kinda
I'm
how
the
I am.
same way. I'm the same way. I try.
Nothing against it. I'm saying that's just not my mentality.
I did it for a little bit. I gave it like a 2 year a best effort kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's not for me.
yeah,
I'm not good. The thing is I'm just not good at it because I don't like it.
yeah.
Obviously, it's super necessary, and I respect the hell out of it. Like,
Oh my god, they're the best. That what I'm saying is I would rather give money away.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, to people to do that for me,
Well, that's what I like.
you
Like,
know?
whenever Moonrise has an opportunity to hire people,
Mm,
Andrew and I make we're given just a budget, right? Say we're given $10,000.
sure.
I am like, I really don't want anyone on set for less than 400. And if anyone's doing anything substantially more, like easily 500, 600. And we could just pay them $200 and people would probably do it.
No, they absolutely would.
But I just believe it's like I would like to be treated that way if someone was hiring me.
Of
People
course.
have and people haven't. And that I just feel very strongly about that. And if you pay someone properly like that, it's
Yeah,
gonna go way better. You're
th
gonna get like the day will go better, your life will be easier.
to an extent. It depends on who the people are.
Well, we're lucky enough that we're hiring mostly just people that we know already. We
Mm,
haven't had to do anything like, like when we went to Indiana,
mhm,
we did hire a PA, who ended up being really cool. He had never done anything like PA before,
mhm.
but he understood the concept of like, yeah, like go pick up the food and, you know,
Yeah,
get on the four-wheeler and bring that because it was like a huge park. They were,
that's cool.
bring the person here and safely. And
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
just ended up being a super nice guy. But I could see if you had to hire out like a whole
Crew of
crew or
people,
something,
yeah.
that could be a huge nightmare. But sometimes it's just not possible. Like if you have
It's
to
a
fly out all your friends, it's
oh,
just
man.
gonna break the budget.
Hiring people is so it's so weird because, like, on the one hand, you'll have you wanna be able to pay people, right? Like, if you have a limited budget and you need a lot of people, But then on the other hand, if you're the freelancer who's getting hired, especially if it's such a weird, it's like a toss up. So like I've had productions where I'll ask like Colin, I'll be like, "Hey, we need an extra grip for this thing." And knowing it's an indie production or knowing that it's a lower budget production in general, whether it's like a corporate thing or a narrative piece,
Mhm.
like you'll have people reach out to you and be like, "Hey, this person referred me to you, said you're looking for a grip." You go, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, it's an indie production, blah 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 blah. What's your rate?" And they'll be like, "650 a day." You're like, "Okay, thank you. Have a nice one."
Sometimes
Like,
it's
have a
just not
nice day.
possible.
No, I understand, but, like, if you have no work, if you have nothing going on, and there's an excuse to get paid 300 a day, why would you say your rate's 650 a day? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
On that
Yeah.
side of things. At the same time, you have to make money, I get it, but, like, if you're doing nothing and you have no work income, don't be a dick.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tricky when you're freelancing and you're trying to negotiate your rate, especially like when I
Yeah.
was saying that I'm getting phone calls from people like I don't even know how they got my information. Somewhere I'm in some database that says that I do live audio video. I don't know how I got there.
Do you care?
No, it's great.
That's
I
what I'm
love it.
saying.
I get the
It's
phone
good.
call, but I get the phone call and they're like, "Hey, it's Jimmy. It's it's John. Uh, you're Sam, right? You do audio video? Yeah." I go, "All right, you free next week? We need you for 5 days." Okay. Yeah, sure. What do you need? I need this, that. Okay, cool. What does it pay? And they're like, "Well, what's your rate?" And I just tell them, I go, "Look, I don't know. I usually get paid," and then say a number. And then, it's just there's no good way to approach it. I think that there's literally it just depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I usually that's what I do. I say, "Well, I usually make this." So that's leaving it open for them to say like, "Okay, great." Which usually if that happens, it's like, "Oh, crap, I probably could have made more."
Yeah,
But
if they say yes right off the bat, you left money
but
on
if
the
you go,
table.
"I'm not showing up for less than, $700 a day." Then they might just go, "Ah, well, thanks anyways."
Well,
Because
yeah.
if it's just they just can't do it or won't, and then like you said, like now you're making 0. So
Yeah,
how
now you don't
so
have a
where do
job.
you find
Like,
that like so that's what I do. I'm not saying that that's the best way to approach it.
sure.
Maybe it's a horrible way, but it's worked for me because no one has ever been like, I'm hanging up. Never mind. At the worst case scenario, they'll push back and say, well, we can offer you like, slightly less or something. It's
Mm,
just what we have in the budget. And then you just decide if it's worth it.
yeah, that's fair.
But you're right. People are stubborn. And when you do that, you're shooting yourself in the foot a lot. I don't know. It's a tough balance between being respected and paid appropriately for
But
like
also being respectful
you don't want
to
to
the
be
person who's
a like
offering you a
a
job.
what is the word for it? A scab. Like you don't want to be like a scab, which is when you're undercutting the union. Like I'll work for $20 a day. Like, you
Well,
don't wanna
yeah,
be
I
that
mean,
you don't
that's
wanna do
crazy,
that
yeah.
because that could just kills it for everyone.
I guess.
But at the same
I don't know,
time
dude, I'm talking about, like, a 10-person crew. Like, if you're making a movie with, like, like the Rhode Island shoot that we were on.
well, it's just for anything. It could
No, I
even be
know,
for
but, like,
like
that
a
guy was not gonna go you're not undercutting the union, but you know what I mean? He wasn't gonna bring in, like, a full crew with drivers and everything else. There were, like, 10 crew people on that
yeah,
set max.
he wanted that amount just for his boots on the ground.
Yeah.
He wasn't bringing a truck with stuff and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
You know? I'm talking about, like, I just need a body. I need someone who knows how to do this stuff. I don't need to it's not like a class.
I need you to work out at the gym for a day and
Right,
I'm
and
gonna pay you to do it.
we'll give you the weights. You just have to show up and work out.
And we'll give you a sandwich.
Right, right, and you're getting paid and you're like 650 a day. Great, then sit at home by yourself and don't work out. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like, what the fuck?
when I did the biggest movie I did was the Liam Neeson movie,
Mm,
and for 2 days, and that was like 500 a day,
mm,
and those days were like 15 hours, 16 hours,
yeah, that's never bugged me.
$500. So if someone wants
Yeah.
650 for a 10-person, this had 1,000 people, this Liam Neeson movie.
Right, right, right.
So if somebody wants 650 to be a grip, ooh,
Yeah, it's I don't
I
know. I
mean,
just
it's
feel
just
like
like
people are
that's
super
like a
fucking
that's way
arrogant.
above union, and it's so much less. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's not realistic, and you're never gonna get any work. I don't know.
Which
I
is
want to
why I
talk. I
think
want to talk about some creative stuff. What is going on in your life? What is going on with you? What do you want to do? Where are your aspirations? Are you even a film person anymore? I feel like when we were on the last time, and a year ago in general, everybody who was on last time, everybody's like, "Oh, we're talking film. We're doing all this stuff, everything," and it's like everybody's been kind of like slowly I hate it. I say this to people all the time. When you're young and you don't have like a not that you do, but I'm saying when you have like a wife and kids and you're older and it's like you can't start getting into something like film. Like you have to start when you're at any level, you just have to start putting feelers out there when you're young, like we did. And then as you get older, like not everybody's gonna be Spielberg. So like people start to kind of like fall to the wayside. You know what I'm saying? And work and do whatever they can. But I don't know. Like I always want to make movies with you. I always want to make movies with Colin. I always want to make movies with Andrew too. Like in general, like all the people that are in my life. Like it's cool, but then like you also have to pay bills. So like you kind of peter out and then bring people back together. You know what I mean? I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, when I left, like I was saying, I used to live in Salem.
Mhm.
I just had a cheaper. I had less expenses. So now where I live is nicer, but I have to make a lot more money just to
Survive.
be there and survive. Yeah,
Yeah.
and preferably save some.
Sure.
You want to be in the positive at least a little.
Am I a lunatic? Am I like a crazy person for not caring about that shit? Like I
Well, I don't want to be in debt. I am like,
no, I don't wanna be in debt. Nobody wants to be in debt, but I'm saying I
well,
would
I
rather make stuff than, like, be more concerned with paying bills. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense. Where
I'm asking, is that a crazy mentality to have?
No, no, I don't think so at all. I mean, it's all an investment. Everything you're doing is an investment. Your life, no matter what it is, whether it's an investment in the right direction,
Yeah.
that's what you have to decide.
Yeah, well, who the fuck is to say what the right direction is? I from a
You
fundamental
are that
level,
you are to say. That's what I'm
I
saying.
guess the way I view life in general is like I'm watching a movie and it's an 80-year movie, hopefully,
Right?
if I'm
Yeah,
lucky.
80's good.
But like when the credits roll, I want to be able to like lay down surrounded by the people that love me or by no one, whatever. Those are the decisions I make. When it's over, I want to be able to say like fuck, that was a good movie. Like that's what I want out
Yeah,
of
right.
life.
I feel the same way.
You know, I don't want to be like, well, and I'm not this is not an attack on you or anybody. I'm just saying for me, for myself, I've just never I used to think when I was in my early 20s when I made a shitload of money, I was in the car business, I was buying a house, taking a vacation every year and like completely unhappy. Like just completely like
Yeah.
what the fuck am I doing? Like this is like it's everything that everyone else has always said like this is what you do. You grow up, you buy a house, you make money, you have a job, you retire, you have a family, whatever. And it's like says fucking who?
That's what the majority of people do, and I don't get it either.
Like,
Uh,
think about how if life is a movie, think about how many boring ass fucking movies are out there. 80, 90, 100-year long movies that just suck.
yeah, man.
I don't want that. I don't fucking want that.
I just don't think I can do it. I've had jobs that I hated
Mm.
that paid. You can always like, well, I liked this part of it, I liked that part of it, but like if you don't like your job, like and
Yeah, that's why I left my job and started my own
I
company.
yeah, yeah. I tried it once, like when I graduated school, had like salary job for like 6 months, and I was depressed. I was miserable,
It sucks.
and that's no life to live. That's no life to live, and there's no law that says that you have to
But this
go.
is why these little things like the Bluff Boy videos or whatever else, that's to me, that's why they're so fucking important. Like, who gives a shit if they get any views at all? Like, you have to have that sense of camaraderie, and they take, like, a fucking weekend to make. Like, you have to make the time to come together with your friends and remember that you're not just a guy who hangs trusses from the ceiling all every day.
Yeah, I a
Do you
hundred
know do
percent,
you know what I'm saying?
100%. And right now it's like a slower season. I want to make that music video thing with you.
Yeah, I'm
Mostly just
pumped about
because,
it.
like, I know that you and I both get a kick out of the special effects thing.
Yeah, it's
I think it
fun.
would just be fun to, like, put our hands on it and try something out and
Can
just
we talk about that? Because I feel like we'll be into that if we, like, talk about that.
yeah, I'm gonna do it with or without you. I just
Well,
wanna
I'm gonna be there. I was gonna offer, actually, I was gonna say I have, recently purchased a 3D printer, and
Oh,
so if you wanted, because I also, like, rewatched that music video. So, explain what we're
yeah,
talking
please.
about. Go ahead, explain. What is it? What is the
Oh, well,
you wanna do a music video of a cover of a Gorillaz song?
yeah, yeah, Dare by Gorillaz. I made a cover of it. 'Cause I was struggling with, writing my own stuff. I
Mhm.
do have, like, my own songs, but sometimes it's nice just to keep you sharp
Sure.
as an exercise
Why defend it? You
to
wanna make a
cover,
cover of a good song.
I'm not I'm just
No, no, you know what I'm saying.
laying
Like,
it all
yeah,
out for you.
I appreciate it.
It's nice to, yeah, just to stay sharp, just remember how to play, remember how to make stuff, and to, like, cover a song because you know how it should sound,
Right.
right? So, you whereas if you're making your own thing,
You don't know how it should sound.
yeah, you don't really know until you say, "Okay, it's done." So, it can be
That's fair.
if you're a head case like me, it can take, it could sit on the shelf for years.
But again, you're not just, I mean, you're a very in my opinion, you're a very talented musician, but
Oh, why, thank
you're
you.
not just a musician though. It's a video. So it's not like you just make the song cover and then put it out there. You want to make the music video with it. And the music video for this specific song has some pretty interesting effects. And when did the song come out? Like in 2003?
Yeah, something like
Like a
that. I have
long time ago, right? Well,
early
you can tell by the music video.
2000s at some point.
It's old,
I don't
right?
know when, but yeah, I think
By
the
today's
the
standards, it's
official
old.
music video I think is in 480p.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Which I think is great.
I wonder if there's some higher res version out there somewhere,
Sure.
but yeah, no, and I just think, like so I could just put a camera on myself and hold the bass and do that, and then like do like the mosaic thing,
Yeah.
like the multicam thing, and just I could do that in my room by myself, and people would probably watch it. I just
Why
think it's a
not?
lot more interesting and more fun to attempt,
You're a filmmaker.
yeah,
Like,
to attempt
what
to
the
do
fuck?
this, to recreate the music video has the crazy giant head of one of the what do they call it? A featured artist on the song,
Mhm.
and it's like a robotic head that gets turned on, and
Yeah.
the main character just dances around the head.
Right.
And I was like, that would be cool to like try to do that. And I think again, like even if nobody watched it, it would just be fun to do it.
Sure.
But I wanted to talk to you about like because last time we talked about like what is the best way to do it.
Mhm.
I'm convinced. I think I need to put my head through
I wanna make a box.
a table. It-
Oh,
there
okay.
needs to be a fixed like so. Say I'm on my knees
Yeah,
or
continue.
standing straight,
Continue.
more expensive. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
All right, good. Yeah.
The reason the head looks so weird and robotic is because the jaw never moves from the ground. Like the jaw doesn't go
Int
down.
right.
The rest
The head
of the
goes up.
head goes up.
Right.
And they do it with the songs like you got to
Yeah,
press
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
on you. So you need that physical surface to get that motion or
Right.
something has to hold my jaw in place so that if I talk
Well, this
that
is why I was mentioning that because I rewatched the music video and I saw there's like a bracket. It's a severed robotic
yeah, you got a
head.
collar or something.
Right.
It's fixing his I think what they did is they put his head through a plank of wood,
Mhm. Yeah, and then
plywood,
put stuff around him.
and that way when he spoke, it was just a natural reaction that forced his head to go up.
Sure.
And I was saying we could wrap a green screen. Like I was thinking about buying another. I'm torn between buying another blue or green screen
Mhm.
rag
Mhm.
that gets wrapped around my neck and it covers the top of the table. Then we need the box for the
Mhm.
room. But I could also buy a can of chroma paint. I've done that in the past. I bought blue chroma blue.
Mhm.
It's like $60 for a gallon.
Mhm.
But that's remember when I did the stop motion with the clay
Yeah,
things?
yeah, yeah.
I painted a piece of wood
Yeah.
as opposed to using a drape. And because then there's no what you call it? Wrinkles.
Yeah.
It's perfectly smooth matte of
S
the correct color.
yeah.
So like if I gotta imagine there's a plank of wood with a hole in the center,
Mhm.
that's where my head, my, you know, measure my neck and cut that. Then you gotta cut the table in half. So, like, the magician trick where they, like, saw the head off, it comes together and I can
Yeah, it's
be
like 2
placed
semicircles and
placed in
you're
it. Yeah.
yeah, you're locked in.
Would it be better to paint it or, like, drape?
Okay, so my initial thought process on how to do it is, uh, obviously at better quality, but just go with me on this, like a 4th grade diorama style thing
Mhm.
where you have a three-sided it's essentially like building an actual set,
Yeah.
like a sitcom set, except it's three-sided, and then there's a hole in the center and it's split in half, right? So you collapse that around your, neck with the collar, whatever. But I would build a miniature room or build or put like a bunch of tubes or whatever it is, lights and stuff in the background, something that's far enough off, um, and then 3D print the collar and just have you like in a chair. I don't know, or build a little table with like a piece of plywood. Like it's so cheap and so cool to do. You can get a 4x8, 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood for like $20.
Yeah, I think we could do the whole thing for under 200 bucks.
Set wise, like yeah,
Materials.
totally agree. That would be like I love miniatures. I love building things. I love like tinkering with stuff and then shooting around. I think it's gonna be the coolest thing.
Yeah,
And the little tubes that are coming
and you
off the
think
guy's
it'll
head and
work,
stuff.
right? Like, you think,
There's
like,
no question in my mind, Sam,
yeah,
that
yeah.
we could make it look probably better because we have better technology now. We could probably make it look better than the original and cooler, like with more shit.
Yeah,
Practical,
I think
I'm
if we just
saying.
had a DSLR slider,
Yeah, I have one. You can have it.
yeah, that, we could get those turning shots if there's but, my only thing to push back is that for the background walls,
Mhm.
I'd prefer to do those digitally.
Why?
Because, I don't know, in the video, there's, like, blinking servers and things, and we could get effective light, like, say there's, like, a server box in the background that's
Yeah, yeah.
flashing. We could do that, like, with an edge light to mimic the on it,
Right.
and,
So
if we don't get the background looking great, which I think would be a lot more work than maybe it seems, then we can't do anything else. Like, we're forced to stay with that. But I still want to do the physical like anything that's touching me, I would
mm,
want to be physical, like a collar, pipes, or like weird bolts and things like
yeah, I
Frankenstein bolts.
love those. Yeah.
Those should all be practical.
Yeah.
But the background itself, I think, should just be tracking markers. That way, because then I can create 3 flat backgrounds images,
Mhm.
you know, crusty concrete wall with dripping, I don't know, rust or whatever, and maybe some weird machinery in boxes,
Mhm.
slightly out of focus, you know,
Well, I mean, okay,
paste,
I
paste,
get it.
paste.
That's fair.
Take your
If
3
that's what you
walls.
wanna do. I would go I mean, personally, I would go to like a, um it's funny, this is like our meet. I guess it'll just be like the show. It's fine with me, I don't care. I think it would be interesting to go to like a Goodwill,
Mhm.
and then they have those it's not just clothing there, like, they have, like, those sections where it's like, "Here's everyone's shit that they
Michael's is
donated."
good too.
Michael's is expensive. Goodwill, you can get, like
Michael's has those little fake trees, and they've got little fake.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I for the miniature stuff, that's true. But I mean for the bolts and things, like for the more mechanical shit,
Yeah.
they have like VCRs and blenders and things that are there that are just you
Yeah.
spend $1 on something that if you bought it brand new at Walmart, it would be $28. So you spend $1 on a used thing
That's
that
very
you
true.
know you're gonna destroy, and then you can like use it. It's how they made the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? They
Oh, yeah.
sourced a whole bunch of bullshit. So stuff like that's really cool. I would paint them all up, make them look really sick for like a bullshit
You
music
know how to
video.
do that. I don't really have any. I don't own any paint. I'd have to go, like, buy.
Oh no, no, I'll do it. That's what I'm saying. Like, give me the job. Like say here's the task that needs to be done, and let me run wild. That'd be sick. Oh, dude,
Do it.
this. But this is my fucking point, Sam. This is my whole thing where it's like I get legitimately excited.
Yeah, it could
Like
be
a
fun.
fucking kid at Christmas. I'm like, "Wait, we get to make a music video and I get to tape bolts to your head? Like let's do it." Like that's
Yeah.
so cool to me.
I also like I love the idea that, it's been, like, almost 5 years since I put out any other music, and
Yeah.
when I did it last time, like, I don't think you ever see my eyes. I'm
Mm,
always, like,
sunglasses,
everything I
or
did is always, like, sunglasses or, Yeah, just some weird abstract. Like I like the idea of it's almost very gorillas.
Mm.
They were virtual people and the real artist was like hidden. I like the idea that like I don't exist. Even though my page is called my music page is called Sam Lucca. I like the idea that I don't know. I just don't think I have the hot boy factor.
Why do you
So
need that though? The guy in the
you
music
don't
video
need
is like
it.
700 pounds.
No, well, you don't need it, but I'm just think I don't know. I don't have some marketing director telling me how to do my music thing, and I just like the cartoony, like I like the it's more fun to,
Sure.
you know,
I don't disagree with you on that.
as
I feel
opposed to
like
like dressing me in like popular cool
oh,
clothes,
that's dumb.
getting my hair to look cool. I like the idea of making me look like friggin' weird or
Yeah.
something, like a strange
Thing.
character or
Right.
thing, yeah.
Right.
Like, when I did the blood orange thing, I was like beach bum beach bum with the silly shirt, just
Sure.
ambiguous, I'm, on the beach, and I like the idea, yeah, of just tailoring some I could just be a different character for every like, more costume design and set design than HMU, right?
Yeah. I like with the green screen specifically, I like the idea, especially if you wanted to emulate more of that music video. They have 2D animated characters, the gorillas. They're always
Oh, I wanna do the dancing 2D character too, but that's really easy because
see,
that's just a
that's where
full
you lose me.
no, that's just a full body shot on
A green screen.
green screen,
Okay, so
and
not an
then it's
animated character
and
though.
then it's just tracked to a point. So if the camera moves, it's tracked to and it'll fly by.
Right, right, but you don't want what I agree with
Yeah,
you.
no, I don't
You
wanna I don't
draw and
wanna draw
animate
anime.
characters. Okay.
I used to do that stuff,
It's
and
sick.
it's just
A pain in the ass.
the time it takes
That's what I'm
is
saying.
unimaginable.
So that's where I automatically go with the green screen stuff. Is it possible? Sure. Do I want to sit there for 25 hours looking up YouTube videos on how to do it? Not really. And if that's something you want to do, go for it. I love and am like embrace fully and am okay with spending the money on fucking up miniatures and trying to make that shit
Yeah,
happen. Because I just think that the end result ends up looking cooler if we can pull it
yeah, but
off.
if you have to draw 3,000 frames of
Yeah, fuck that.
yeah.
Oh my
Well, I
god.
used to do it, man. I just like, no
Yeah.
way, no way. I had a drawing tablet. I don't know if I ever showed you that stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, you did.
Some of it's still on YouTube. Like I could, but yeah, I just don't have the time. But I just thought it'd be funny if I was up there doing like the backpack kid dance or something, or
Exactly.
just
Exactly,
throwing
exactly.
the dab out or something. Like,
Right, in a different
dancing
outfit.
poorly, basically.
Right, and we have, like, I don't know, I
Yeah,
have
in a different.
tons of, like dude, I, like, stock up on this shit. I have tons of, like, Halloween makeup and spirit gum and shit we could stick stuff to you and, like for the headpiece, I'm
We've
saying,
got a
in the
little
middle.
box of stuff too. Yeah, a box of props left over from
Love that shit, man.
when we did the Bluff Boys podcast with you.
Right.
Yeah, you think we could find like a white lab coat? That could be
There's no
cool.
question.
If I was like
I'll buy one.
a scientist man.
I don't give a shit. Dude, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. What's that dude from Sonic? Eggman? He's like the bad guy. I don't know.
The Jim Carrey guy? The guy that
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
He
yeah.
wears black though, but like a white lab coat, like evil looking,
Yeah.
twisted scientist man.
Well, that's the thing
Or
is,
I
like,
don't know.
why make it and I know you don't want it, I'm just saying, like, why make it exactly like what the Gorillas did if we're gonna do our version of it, like, homage,
Yeah,
right? Then,
yeah. I
like,
want to
make it
make it
fucking
my. I
cool.
want to make it my version.
That's what I'm saying. So you have, like, some tube lights and some other shit, right? So it'd be cool to, like, set those up in the background and, I don't know, make a green screen the wall. I don't know. I would write out, like, a plan and kinda, like, show you what I'm thinking first, and then if you're like, "Yeah, let's do the green screen," then fuck it, we'll do the green screen. But if it's like, "Hey, that's something you can pull off," 'cause I will absolutely build a fucking set and show up with a big box and
Well,
say, "This is
maybe
what
we
we're
should
doing."
reach out to. I can't remember. It's terrible. I can't remember her name. But
Zach Pseudos.
yes,
Yep. I was
she's
just thinking about
the
this
miniature
'cause Billy wanted to make
master.
that movie with the miniatures or whatever, and we
Yeah,
spent all
too
that
bad it
stuff.
never worked out.
I know.
You know what we did?
Shit like that
You know
happens,
what we
though.
did? We fucked up real bad.
What?
It was a green forest,
Yeah.
and we shot on a green screen.
Mm,
So that was fun for me.
I
In
bet.
post.
I bet.
I'm trying because there was a couple of wide shots.
I think still has access to that camera too. Remember we did that test on
Although he had a lens, he had a funky lens.
who had the camera? Was it me?
It was the Black Magic.
No, 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 no.
I
We
think I
had a
shot a.
VHS camera that we shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
right, right,
like we
right,
had that
right. We
old
didn't
like
do that for the preview thing for his movie.
No, but we did a test at in
But yeah. I
where
remember now.
with the miniatures, with the little blocks, when we put the blocks up.
We did that on the Black Magic though. Because on that day we tested his VHS camera, and when it came to key it,
His face was a pixel. Like, it was like,
yeah, it was all pixel. It wasn't there weren't enough pixels and
Yeah,
the key
you're
came
right.
out bad.
You're right.
Yeah.
We did
So
do that
and the
on Black
answer would
Magic.
be to shoot it on HD,
Yeah,
Ultra
and
HD,
then make it
and then
look
run it through. That's what you do. They do that for the backrooms videos on YouTube. You ever watch those?
No, what's that?
They're very popular. They're
Okay.
very popular with the kiddies. But
Okay.
it's like
What are they?
someone makes.
It's so weird.
Do you know what the backrooms is? Like
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
it's some weird you know what creepy pasta is?
No, just tell me what they
Ah,
do. I don't know what these things are.
it's it's an endless labyrinth of either a mall. It's sort of like 90s tech horror.
And it's shot on like a old VHS camera type deal?
Well,
Like a
they
found
make them
footage?
CG because it's like I don't even know how to explain it. Think of like a grid. Look at this grid,
Mhm.
and they're all just office spaces. So it's an endless labyrinth of So they do it in like Blender,
Oh, okay.
but the most famous ones, the creators talked about how he makes them.
Mhm.
He makes them in Blender, renders them in 4K, and then sends it through the VHS, whatever is that, the yellow, red, and white,
Yeah.
it through a physical tape recorder,
Mhm.
prints it, and then records it from like the
Yeah.
output of that.
Yeah, prints to tape
So
and
it's
then
not a
records it back in.
filter; it's a legitimate
Yeah.
distortion from tape.
That's cool. I have a
Yeah,
VCR. We can do that too.
yeah. So as long as you have a way in and out of the VCR,
Yeah, that's sick.
and then you basically like screen record what's coming out of the
Yeah, run it
VCR.
through OBS or run it
And you
through a
can just do it again. You can do it over and over again to add or take away distortion.
That's sick.
You can degrade it more by just keep putting it through it.
Mhm. Wow.
Kind of interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very
That's the funnest part about VFX stuff is
But
like
this is what I'm saying. Like, I want to do more of that. I want to get back to it, more of that. I'm feeling like there's not enough actual creativity. It's like even when you're on a film set, or even when you like want to get to, it's like, well, you got to do coverage, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, why?
well,
Why
you
do
know
we?
what I
You
think?
don't gotta do anything.
I
Like,
got
just fucking.
I've got a hot take for you here
Oh, here
that
we
might make
fucking
me
go. Here we
that
go.
might make me, you know, look bad in front of my filmmaking friends.
Here we go.
I think that all the strikes and all the fighting for higher pay and different conditions and stuff
Mm.
has just like self-suicided the industry around here.
You know what? Can I be honest? I'm thankful for it.
Well, I'm not thankful for it.
I am.
I just think I think it's their own fault.
That's what I'm saying. Let me explain. I'm thankful for it because I think there was a barrier to entry for a lot of people, a lot of creative people. And when the people on the other side of that barrier self delete, then you remove the barrier because you still need content. This is the one thing. Like, I'll whether it's a YouTube video or a movie that goes into theaters, people still want to watch stuff.
Mhm.
The general public doesn't give a shit how much writers are getting paid. They
You
don't care.
you know the substance?
Yeah.
I was just like last night or the night before I watched the woman director of that movie is
Yeah.
brilliant. I think she's French.
Okay.
But they shot the movie. The movie takes place in LA.
Mhm.
They shot the whole movie in France. Now,
I love that.
there's I guess an argument that because I don't know if she's French. She had an accent, but she
That's the best
definitely
thing you've
she
said
had a
so
little bit
far.
of accent, but
Right.
like I don't think that's why they shot it in France.
That was probably cheaper.
She said it in the thing, and it was like behind the scenes. It was like a 20-minute long video on YouTube
Yeah.
behind the scenes. It really cool. A lot of what they did was practical,
Mm.
and she literally said, "I want to do things practically. So if we shoot in France instead of LA, we
Mhm.
can save all that money and use it for practical effects."
Right.
And I'm like, that wasn't the case in the past.
Right.
What the hell happened? Right? And so
Well, it was the case in the past. In the way past.
it wasn't the case in the past that someone would shoot out of the country to save money.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
And she straight up said that. And I was like, ugh.
I don't know, man.
Like
I gotta tell you, I think the film industry in general is going through like a total, like, I'm not even joking around, a complete rebirth
yeah.
of
Dune,
everything.
all the Dune stuff wasn't shot in the US. It was
Yeah,
all shot overseas.
right. Well, there aren't any big, like, well, I guess there are a couple, but
There's
you
no
know,
deserts in the US.
there are. There are. No, you're right. You're right. You're
like
right.
like they literally and I don't want people to be abused and I don't want people to not be paid enough, but it's just overregulation. It's like
Yeah, I'm on it.
overregulation and weird demands and things. And then there's also just like it was so the reason I don't work in film is because when I graduated school for the next 3.5 years, there were strikes. It was what was it, SAG and then the writers,
Mm,
and then now they're talking about a general IATSE strike, and
yeah,
it's just like,
yeah. See, it doesn't bother
why
me.
would you do
It
business here?
But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all because
Well, it
I'm an
makes me
indie
sad. I was
filmmaker.
sort of
I
like
know, but I'm
trying
not
to,
PGA, right? I'm not listen. Okay, let me just break it down like my thoughts on the whole thing quickly, hopefully quickly. Uh 100+ years ago, just a little over 100 years ago, you had some people that moved out to LA. Did you know Thomas Edison had the patent on the film projector
I didn't know that.
and the movie camera and some other shit? And they like sued the shit out of him because they're like, we want to make movies too. But what's it called? They moved out to LA because the weather was nice and it was dry and there was nothing out there at the time. And they built this industry, and then along with it, they built the rules, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we have this thing where we're all striving toward Hollywood, or at least we were, like in, as recently as like the 90s, early 2000s. But because of the advances in technology and everything, because it's so readily available that you could be from Kansas and buy a Blackmagic camera and like have a
Mhm.
nice cinema camera, right? Like the barrier to entry is like, can you make a YouTube account? Like that's the barrier
That's
to
true.
entry to be in film. So on the one hand, you have the people that went to school and like your generation, and I would say older, right? You have these people that are like, if you're not in, I would say older than me, still say things like, if you're not in LA, what are you're not making, and it's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like you could be literally, they don't make movies in LA anymore anyway. Like they have sound stages and stuff, but everything is shot somewhere the fuck else. They made Brockton look like New York City for Don't Look Up, and they shot it there in Brockton, Mass.
Yeah.
Like literally, they don't do anything in LA except maybe some editing, and there's some executives there with offices. They meet in LA and then say, "Okay, here are your plane tickets.
Yeah,
Go make a movie."
it's where if you're at the top, you
Right.
go there to socialize,
Right.
to get like to land the gig and then get a it's all just
Do you know
so
what I mean though?
it's so far away from the
But I just okay,
point,
I just had a kid on last week on the show who made a film, 10-minute short film for his college capstone. Sent it to 30 film festivals. Go watch the episode, it's very good. 30 film festivals, got denied from all of them. Was literally so distraught about that because it shot it on film. Like made a nice film, and it's actually very good. Got denied from every single festival and was about to quit filmmaking after spending 400 grand on college. Put the thing on YouTube, it got 430,000 views within the first month. What would you rather have?
yeah, at least people were
A
watching it.
festival with a little accolade thing where you can post for your 50 followers on Instagram that you did well, or 430,000 people saw your film? And what if one of them was a producer said, "This is good, we should make this into a feature"? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and
Like the barrier to entry, there is no barrier. It's here, and it's bullshit. Like, just make stuff. Stop complaining. Not you. I'm saying people in general. Stop complaining about, well, I don't live in LA. I can't do this. I can't do that. Just fucking make stuff. And that's like my mindset is I don't want to talk about like, well, what if we had this, or what if only we had this budget? Like a 3D printer's $500. Like a fucking, we're talking about making something with a piece of plywood and a table and a fucking green sheet. Like that's what filmmaking is to me. Make something out of nothing. It's imagination come to life. What the fuck? What's the issue? Like Pulp Fiction And or Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino, he wanted to make that movie for 50 grand. He's like, I just want to make the movie. That's what he liked to do. It's what I like to do. What, like everyone, I feel like people stifle themselves, Sam. They stop themselves from making stuff because they're not where they think they should be.
Mhm.
And the only way to get where you want to be is to continue making shit. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree.
I don't know.
And that's why we're gonna make something.
I'm fucking pumped about it.
That's why we're
Especially
gonna
this
make
thing
something.
specifically. You sent it to me and I was like, ooh, that looks cool. That looks
Isn't it
cool.
look cool? Like it just there's just so much junk.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I want to play
That's
with the
my dude.
junk.
That's where I
I want to
live.
play with the toys.
Because even if it came out like shit, it's like we had fun doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
why
if it
not?
looks like shit, it'll be charming, I think.
Ex- exactly. Exactly.
You
I mean,
know?
for Christ's sake, the part of the thing that turns me on so much about the Bluff Boys was Andrew using his handycam for everything. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like again, it proves the point. Like you don't need an Ari Alexa in order to make anything. Like what the fuck?
No, sometimes it's a detriment, honestly.
Right. That's my point.
You know?
It's crazy. And it doesn't it's more story based and I don't know, man. I just think what we do for a living is so cool. And I always feel so blessed when I start talking about it cuz like we literally play pretend and fucking glue junk to each other's forehead to like make something cool. That's what we do for a living. We're not doing brain surgery. Like we're not saving lives.
Right.
We fucking play pretend with a
Hey,
camera
man,
all day.
we're saving
You know
lives
what I'm saying?
by entertaining the masses.
All right. Well, we're entertaining the people
We're
before they
saying it.
die.
We're saving our own lives.
I don't know. It's art, man. It's a cool thing. I like the music as well. I've never, unfortunately, I never learned how to play an instrument, so I don't understand the music side of things as much. But like, I don't know. I fuck it. I just want to make cool shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't. And as I continue, like I don't even really like I enjoy directing, but that's way more of like a hobbyist kind of side of things for me. Like directing a film, the idea of that. I would much rather produce and then edit a film
Mm.
and like delegate and be like, yeah, yeah, this looks good or whatever.
I like to direct. I like being on the floor with an actor, with crew, and being like,
I don't
this.
mind it. I don't think I'm that good at it, to be honest with you.
I
I don't
think
think
I
I'm that good at directing.
yeah. I
I'm good at
I don't know
editing.
if I'm good at it, but I feel no pressure barking
Yeah.
barking orders, I guess. And I also think I've just
Oh,
I'm
I have no issue barking orders. None.
I think I'm pretty
None
good
whatsoever.
at like I don't know, not acting, but like you have to
Oh, same.
adjust the way that you approach a person like on a person by person basis.
Yeah.
Like if you have somebody who's a little more like a weenie,
Mm.
or you have somebody who's maybe more eccentric, I think I'm good at like finding
Adapting.
like adapting and finding that level of energy where I can explain what I want or like Tom Sawyer them into doing what I want
Yeah.
the best. Cuz some people will just go, "Okay, got it. Sure." And
Yeah, that's
do
fair.
it. Other people are like, but I have to
Yeah, yeah.
win."
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think I'm really good at recognizing that pretty quickly.
Mhm.
I can run into it all the time, like you asking how I was like, I don't know what you want to call it, like leveling up at work.
Mm.
A lot of it is just when you're in front of, say, a show director or somebody that's like, way above you, like what's their vibe?
Yeah.
And if you approach them the right way, you, you'll just things will just go better, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of mostly the hardest part of directing because you get some diva or something who's like got a chip on
Yeah,
their
I don't work
shoulder,
well
and
with divas. That's
and
the
I'm
thing.
good at like I think I'm good at sort of adjusting for that,
I guess.
you know,
Yeah, I think
speaking their language and
from a editing perspective, it is kind of nice to uh in some respects, it's kind of nice to like have all of that shit done. I love being on set. It's my favorite thing.
mhm.
To be on set in any role, just to be there and like be around the shit. It's fun. But from an editing perspective, it is kind of nice to not have to go through the BS and you get like a list of takes the director said were good takes and like you kind of you sit there and like you can still create the painting, but the paint, all the colors have been mixed for you already. It's like paint by number, kind of. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you just kind of throw stuff up there, and you can play around, and maybe you insert a reaction shot where you didn't have it before, or whatever, and like you're still in control, but you don't have to deal with the bullshit. You know what I mean? from a producing standpoint, it's the same thing. You're the guy who writes the checks. You can approve and deny things. You're still in that sense of control, and creatively, you can say, "What about this?" And you can add suggestions. But like when you're directing, maybe it's because I work on like such indie productions that we don't have every single crew member filled, where there's like when it's my thing, I am directing, producing, and like I have control. So it's like every single person on set can only ask me things. That's very frustrating to me. To then also have to go and direct the actors. That's like a director. That's your job, is to direct the fucking actors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On a big set where you have every position filled with the right budget.
Well, it's also just kind of goes back to as well the sort of like old Hollywood versus the new age thing we were just talking about.
Yeah, I like old
And
stuff.
the the way things have always been done is you hire professional actor, SAG actor or something,
Sure.
and I guess it's not even I don't know. Maybe this isn't even really true, I guess, on the big because there's still diva actors who like fight back and
Yep.
but generally the idea is that the director says, "Okay, now this. Okay, now that." There are a lot
Right.
of people who will be like, I don't want and
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I
So
think
get off my
I
set then.
personally feel like have a good read for that and a
Yeah.
patience for that. And I can be like, well, I know I can tell that actor to just go do it and they'll do it
Mhm.
with a smile on their face. This person is maybe more sensitive or they're prone to push back. It's funny. It's like people become actors and they like don't like to be told what to do. It's like, well, that's your effing job.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I, I have had several experiences where I recognize that that person is that way. They're a little headstrong, and you just reword the way you say things. You go, oh, you know what would be cool if we tried like it would be
I love
cool
the
if
way you talk.
we would try if we tried
Um,
this out. I just thought of this now. It's like in the back of my head, I know exactly what I want them to do. But
yeah.
if you do that, like you'll take someone who's more stubborn, they tend to be more receptive to that.
Right.
Because you're almost convincing them that like to have the
It's
thought
there.
as well.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that is a cool idea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It
As
just gets
opposed to saying,
tiring,
all right,
man.
now I need to take where you're a little less angry, or now I need to take where you're funnier. Because then they're
Yeah.
just like they're like,
Yeah. I can't stand that shit. It's so
I've got a
annoying.
good patience for it, and I don't know. I haven't had any catastrophes yet. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah, I think I had one catastrophe. I don't wanna, I'm not naming names or anything, but I did have one catastrophe where it's like you begin arguing with the talent,
yeah,
and you're like, "Why are you arguing? Why? Why? Like, look at all the people around you. Why are you arguing? What are you doing?
I
It's
don't.
so so tiring." You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's where
Like,
you
we're
gotta.
supposed to be having fun. It's
You,
supposed to be we're supposed to be working, but it's supposed to be having fun, and you're fucking arguing with me, and you wouldn't even be here if I didn't cast you. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? You know? I feel like you should feel in any respect, even if you're the guy at the top writing the checks, you should still feel blessed that everybody still showed up to help you out. You know what I mean?
of course, but if
So
somebody's, you know, ruining everything because they're having a grumpy day,
yeah, yeah.
you do have to put your foot down at some point. It's just a matter of finding that balance, and there's no rules for that.
There's no rules for
You
anything,
just
dude.
have to.
That's the thing.
You have to smell it.
But that's the thing with film in general. Like all of the rules are fucking arbitrary. It's bullshit. It's literally bullshit because if like you can't tell me that 2001: A Space Odyssey and Blair Witch Project and Wallace and Gromit all play by the same fucking rules. Like they don't. They just don't.
That's the funniest comparison ever.
They,
Wallace and Gromit 2001.
you know what I mean? Like you can say like they all have their place in cinema history. But they're not all the fuck, they didn't get made all the
No,
same
of
way.
course not.
They have different rules. So like you can literally do whatever you want. And quite frankly, when you do what you want to do, you end up making something better than if you try to play by these made up fucking ridiculous rules that some old fucking Hollywood who was, diddling a chick to give her a role in a movie said that you should do. I don't know. I've never understood the idea. Like I understand people wanting the fame and fortune of Hollywood or whatever, but I've never understood the idea that the mass consensus of filmmakers is striving to be in an area of the world where like 90% of them touch kids. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Why do we want to be like that? if it was art, if it was considered art the same way painting is, like, you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine if you were able to get if you were able to get Picasso, Van Gogh, Monet, Rembrandt in the same room, and you said you're all gonna paint this way, or it's bad art, they'd fucking leave.
Oh
Th-
yeah.
They'd be like, "What?" So why does anybody in the film industry, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like these people, like there's YouTube channels where they like break down film and they say this is a good movie because, or this is good cinema because, or whatever. Like there's people that do that with art too. Like, you know what I mean? But like, fuck off. Okay, there's people that draw stick figures and they make millions of dollars a year. Life is good t-shirts. They're fucking stick figures. It's still art, you know? Someone still did it. I don't know, man. I just don't think there are any rules. Which is why when you call me and say, "How do we do this? I want to redo this thing or whatever." I'm like, "Fuck it, let's do whatever it takes." Like, just keep fucking trying until it looks cool. Like, that's the goal, is for it to look cool. Is that not the goal?
No, it's the goal. It's I was just when I say that, I was like,
And you're not wrong though.
I was
Like,
mostly just like, you gotta plan before going into it with some.
planning is different than
That's all I was really asking was like, what is the like, what do we physically need in the room
oh, you're talking about the head thing?
to have a product? Yeah, and
Oh, no, no, I know. I'm just saying like if okay, hear me out, hear me out. Let's say you wrote the song "Fuck the Gorillas," and let's say like forget they exist for a second. Let's say you wrote the song and you performed the song, and you were pitching it to some producer guy in LA who's gonna make this video, and you're like, I have this idea with the head thing and all this other stuff. The f- there would be on the financier level the phrase you have to dot 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 always that's how it goes. Oh well, you'll have to ba, 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 and then you're gonna have to ba, 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 ba. I don't live fuck that. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you have to do is make a cool end product. You know what I'm saying? And like you have to try and do it within a monetary realm that like it doesn't exceed.
it does have to make money.
Does it?
Well, if you're gonna continue to make future projects and get investment, yeah. Actually, maybe not. I mean,
Exactly. I was like, wait a
I
minute. Like
might,
think about it
I
on a
might make stuff that loses money a lot, and he just keeps. But that's where it's like that's what I was saying is similar to
dude,
like
think
I
about
think my
all of
strength
the
in directing is being able to gauge somebody.
okay.
His probably strength is in selling.
Sure.
He's able to
Okay.
go take people out probably and make buddies with producers and go, I know that last one lost
See, I'm
money,
good at
but
that. I am good at that.
yeah, see,
I'm a good
Andrew and
schmoozer.
I have a big problem with selling. We're really bad at it,
Send me in there. Give me a commish. I'll do it.
dude. If you found us work, we'd give you easily like a third, 25% commission.
We'll figure it out.
We have a guy. That guy is our producer. He's the one that. Sorry, we have a guy. We have a producer guy. He is older than us and just has more connections and has just lived a life and he just has friends and all kinds of different. That's how we got the Indiana thing. That's how we got this thing.
Yeah, he gets you work.
He gets us the work, and you know, that's a really hard thing to find. We asked lots of people to we were like, we'll give you literally, we'll split it with you 3 ways, even if that screws us. We're like, just
Well, because you need
if
the
you
work.
can bring us someone who's willing to make a project, even for $1,000
Mhm.
even for $500, anything.
In the beginning, yeah.
And they all were like, yeah, but I mean, am I going to get paid
See?
to like go do it? And we
Okay,
were like,
you see
you
no,
don't
but like
understand.
you
It's
see what I'm saying? This is the same thing. That is what I was talking about when I said you get a referral from somebody to be a grip on your set and they're like $650 a day. That feeling is what I'm talking about. You're like, are you
Yeah.
fucking with me, dude? Like, what are you talking about? We're trying to make you know what I mean?
We don't have any money.
Right.
Trying to make
exactly.
a lot of money so that,
Right, so that we can give you money, you know?
And-
or like,
we need that third spot because I think I'm great at directing. Andrew is a better technical
wizard.
filmmaker.
He is a technical guy.
He's much more gear savvy.
I think it's
and he's
photography
much more organized. Like he's really good at I don't know. He's just a little more organized. I'm a little more eccentric, and it makes a good yin and yang.
Mhm.
But when the two of us, we spent months, like 6 months, when we first started doing Moonrise, just knocking on doors, sending
Making phone
emails,
calls,
making
yeah.
phone calls. We tried everything, and people just don't buy us. you need like a
Me.
you, a producer who just has that skill. It's selling is I think the hardest part.
I think it's the easiest part.
Well, we should talk.
Yeah, we should. We should. Oh, we're over an hour.
Yeah, what's our cutoff?
I
Because I
mean, there's
did
not
wanted to
really
ask
one,
you
but
just I wanted to
on the show, you wanna ask me something?
I wanted to have you watch something real quick. Have you ever seen the movie Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire?
Yes. Good movie.
Dude, I just watched that. So maybe
Good, like, old, like, underrated flick.
first of all, I don't know when the last time you watched it is.
A few years ago.
So funny on a rewatch.
Yeah.
I think it was like the second time I've seen it or third or something.
Yeah.
Every 2-3 years. It's kind of a guilty pleasure 90s.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Absolutely.
first of
Reese
all,
Witherspoon, Tobey Maguire. What a matchup,
yeah,
dude.
he's like Jesus at one point.
Don Knotts, right?
They're
Is the
all
one that, like, sends them in, like, he's in there as well, the
is it
old
the
guy?
mayor or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. But
Great movie.
it's
Wow,
just
what a name.
it literally covers like every cheesy social message you could possibly have in a movie. And
Sure.
I love it. I think it's
I don't think
it's
it's bad
great.
at all.
Like there's anti-capitalist stuff.
Mhm.
There's like communism versus fascism stuff in there.
Yep.
There's religious stuff. Like there's one point in the movie where Tobey Maguire is because he has read books and all their books are blank.
Mhm.
When he opens a book and he's like, I remember this one. This is where, and then like the stuff starts to appear. There's literally a point where they're in the diner or whatever, and he has like disciples sitting around him, like,
Yeah.
well, but what happens after that?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, Tom Sawyer has to paint a fence and he doesn't want to. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
then what?
Yeah. I know. It's great.
Like he's Jesus or something. It's just, but
It also is one
aside
of the
from that,
first part of the reason I like that movie, not to go on, and I wanna hear what you have to say. Part of the reason that I like that movie is because it's one of the first effects that I learned how to do in Final Cut Pro,
that's what I wanted to ask you about.
is the black and white with the single color still in color.
I know how
Like
to
a
do that.
rose
I
turning
know how
red.
to isolate the color,
So,
but it was in the 90s.
they called it the Pleasantville effect on the YouTube video that I watched, so I went and watched the movie. But it was, that was, like, one of the first thing people call it the Sin City effect too, the red only, or, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, isolation of one color.
Understand how to do that stuff now.
Oh, same, but I'm saying when I was
How did they
learning and
do it in
stuff.
the 90s though?
Yes, I know, I know, I think about shit like
Specifically,
that all
I
the time.
wanted to see if we could find a clip. You know the movie, so we don't have to watch it, but
Mm.
the mother starts getting color on her face
Yep.
because she gets horny or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's like what it is. Like people get
Yeah.
horny or they like read a book or I don't see a painting, they start turning color.
Mm.
Oh yeah, there's like racism stuff in there too, like
Oh, it's great.
color segregated. Like that's what I mean, like every social theme.
Right.
But she puts on, or Toby's like, "Here, let me help you." He's like, "Oh, your father can't ever see me like this, or your mom."
Right, he paints
And
the gray on her.
he's putting gray makeup on her, and I was looking at just that, and I was like, "Is that chroma green or something?" Like, how did they do that on film stock? What, like 1995? Like, how did they do that?
I don't know.
Because they didn't have Da Vinci, like, I don't
They
know.
coulda just used gray
In
makeup.
Premiere. Oh, well, but there's instances though of the opposite too.
Sure. Oh, no, no, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying in those as you know, like,
Did
you can set everything up for one specific insert close-up shot.
Yeah.
Paint so,
No, actually, you're totally right.
another.
It probably was just gray makeup, but there's instances of like rose bushes and everything else is
Yes.
black and white, and I'm like, did they invent? I don't know. In Premiere, it's called HLS. It's inside of Lumetri, and you can isolate the color. And
Oh, okay.
you know, it's
It's a
just
color mask in Final Cut, and with DaVinci, it's a whole other thing with nodes and stuff, but
yeah, and yeah, you can say, well, it's it spans from this range of green into blues or whatever, and then this is like the from dark to light, and then blah 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 blah, and you can fine tune it like crazy,
yeah.
but it's digital. So I'm like, did they, I don't know, invent that for this movie? I was just curious if you knew.
So I don't know. I will say though, in the 30s, I'm gonna bring up my favorite example, and it's it again. I think it's not movies that made me want to make movies. It was specific shots in certain movies that made me
Mhm.
want to make movies. And one of the specific shots, it's cheesy as hell, and it's one of the most famous shots ever, is when Dorothy goes into Oz,
Yeah.
and it's a black and white thing inside the house. Cameras behind her, and she opens the door, and everything outside the house is color. It's Oz, and she's in black and white. And then the door opens, the camera passes her, and she crosses camera, and she's in color in 1938.
Right. Right.
And figuring out and watching behind the scenes and researching and figuring out how they did that was like, I have to do this for the rest of my life. Like, like this is the coolest. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's a real life magic trick.
Right. That's the magic of filmmaking to me.
Can I try to guess?
So, yeah, I'll tell you exactly how it was done. Go ahead, go.
I'm pretty
sure. You know The Wizard of Oz,
I
right?
know that shot. Yeah, I would have to see it again. Her going from black and white, but my initial instinct would be simple enough. Like, it's a double exposure on film. They're cutting or masking when she opens the door. You know, that's either physically cut out or it's a black mat that's masked out. And then there's a second shot of the color stock that's double exposed on it. But her going from black and white to color, I don't know.
I'm going to show you this.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, all right. I thought she stayed in frame. So she left frame. She pulls the door and she gets out of the frame.
She does.
So everything could be done by physically cutting it.
Do you want to know how they did it?
I think I know. I think it's what am I saying it correctly?
I know what you're saying. You're saying like literally like either double exposing or cutting physical film, right?
Yeah, because it's a door, so it's a pretty easy shape. Because I was
There's
like,
a dolly that goes through the door.
Yeah, as long as it's timed the same, it should.
It's okay. Can I tell you how they did it? You're gonna shit.
Or did they just paint the? Did they have a sepia tone Dorothy, sepia tone clothes, sepia tone painted wall, and everything else? And then a second Dorothy comes that's in color.
The second Dorothy is the actress, and the first one is a stand-in
First one's
that
a
has
stand-in,
paint all over her.
Yeah, okay.
And the whole set on the inside of the house is black and white painted.
Yeah.
And when she gets out of frame, and the set was built, it's in color. They shot that whole shot is in Technicolor, except the set is black and white.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's so like chills, fucking chills when you figure that out, because you go, oh my God. In the time, the reason it gives me such good vibes. And King Kong 1933 is another one that I mention all the time that I love. The thing that appeals to me about it is you don't need to have expensive software. You don't need to know how to do all these crazy things. You just need a bucket of paint, and you need a stand-in that's the same height as Dorothy.
Hell yeah.
Are you fucking with me? Like, what? Like that knowing that and being able to be like, oh, so then I can do this in the future. Fuck yes. Like, that is so cool to me. You know, I don't know. I love that shot. That's a great shot. There's so much that goes into like that shot, and someone somewhere had to come up with that as the solution to do. How do we do this shot? How do we do it practical in camera?
The practical stuff is the best.
The best. Have you heard about the Chris Nolan is making the Odyssey right now?
Yeah, I have.
There's a Cyclops in the Odyssey. It's going to be a 6-meter high puppet.
Oh, I just saw
that face is how I felt when I heard about it.
They did Alien Romulus recently. Have you looked into any of that thing?
I have not.
I am not interested in that series really at all. But you know, the algorithm hit me with like some clips.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I was watching
BTS stuff,
I was
right?
watching the Corridor guys.
Oh, I like them. Yeah.
And they were shitting on one shot from that. And someone in the movie was like, yo, but the way they did I guess one of the characters, like there's the classic alien, like with the black, like long head with the
with the multiple mouths that come out and shit.
I don't know, some mutation or it like impregnates a lady.
Yep.
So there's a human alien hybrid thing. They found some dude who's like 7'8".
Okay.
And put him in prosthetics.
Oh, that's sick.
So he's like truly like
Did you
7 or 8 foot tall guy who's really. I mean, he has some sort of terrible disease, but super long and lanky.
Yeah.
And they put him in alien makeup, and it is the freakiest friggin' thing I've ever seen because it looks real. Because it is real.
Right.
There's just really a guy there.
Did
where
you
they could have CGI'd it and they didn't, and
Thank
it's
God they didn't.
so freaky and cool looking.
I don't know, man. You're a special effects guy and an After Effects guy, and I feel like I shit on CGI stuff, and there are, like, hundreds of people that, like, go into every shot when there's CGI stuff, but, like, why why can't we have both, is what I'm saying. Like,
The best is the
industry-wise,
mix of both.
the
This is
yeah, enhanced with
the perfect
CGI,
balance.
but, like, dude, I saw it recently, and I feel like I'm repeating myself on these episodes sometimes, but I went back and I was watching Star Wars, and I went to go look at A New Hope, Episode 4,
Mhm.
and they've replaced now Disney has replaced the very opening shot of Star Wars Episode 4 with the Star Destroyer that comes
No
over.
way.
It's a CG everything is CG. They replaced the back of the Millennium
Well,
Falcon that used
that's
to be lights.
crazy.
It's so heartbreaking to me.
Are you super sick of the volume now too?
I was never a fan of the volume,
I can
dude.
see it now, just I'm like,
I was never a fan of the LED screen behind the actor. I want them to be able to, like, walk over to the door as opposed to it's just like
I think it's cool if it's used properly, but they just make entire movies in the volume now.
it's dumb, dude,
It's like,
and
and
it's
you can just
cheap.
feel it. You can just feel it and see it.
Like, it's a cool tool. It's a cool tool, but, like, that imagine if, like, you
Imagine if they shot Dune 2 on the
yeah,
volume.
what the
You'd be
fuck?
like, "Boo."
What the fuck?
Instead of, like, going to the desert and doing
But
it.
I will say that, like, anytime something new comes out, people abuse it immediately, It's like a new thing, they have to use it until it's like,
Yeah, you
until the next new
don't
thing
have to
comes out.
pay for any plane tickets or, hotel rooms.
I don't know.
You shoot it all in the volume.
I would do it old school. If I had, like, 500 bill, like something ridiculous, I would build sets.
100,000,000,000.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying being hyperbolic on purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
If I if I had 500 bill and I was gonna, like, make my own Hollywood, like, buy a patch of land and build sound stages, I would run that place like 1940s. I'm not kidding. I would have well, less racist, but I but I would have contracted actors, and I'd be pumping out A and B and C movies, and I would be building sets, and if there was a guy in a jungle, it would be set on a sound stage with plants that they brought in, like the old school way, and I'd just be making fucking movies because that's what's cool to me, and maybe we'd enhance with some CGI and stuff, and maybe we'd have a volume, but, like, we wouldn't use it only. Like, I feel like that's all they do is use the volume, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? I want physical sets. I wanna
Yep.
build stuff. I want Hollywood flats and theater flats and stuff that's clamped together with shitty electrical that would never pass inspection.
Dude,
I love shit like that.
one of my guilty pleasure movies is Iron Man 1,
Mm.
and because it holds up ridiculously well for a couple, like, literally because it was shot on film,
Mm.
right? And most of the Iron Man suits were practical. Anything where it wasn't doing some ridiculous, like, there's parts where, like, the boots come together and they and, like,
Yeah.
that's CG, but, like, most of the close-ups, helmet opening, things like that, was a physical thing that Robert Downey had to wear,
Mm.
and he's, said openly in interviews, he's like, "Yeah, like, once the budget went up, I told them, 'I ain't wearing that shit.' Like, put me in the tracking markers,' and they all just were like, 'Okay.'" But if you watch Iron Man 1, it, like, literally looks better. It looks more real than all of the latest, Avengers stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they do, like, more fantastical things because 'cause he's got, like, the, I don't know, nanobots.
It's just not cool to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
It's
I'm
not
like,
cool.
it's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. Harry Potter 1, Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone.
Badass.
They literally in the hall where they all eat, they had actual candles
Yeah.
that were burning through their strings that were holding them, and they were falling on kids' heads because they were trying to do everything practically. How fucking cool is that?
It's
If
pre
I was a kid and had a candle fall on my head, I'd be like, "This is the coolest fucking thing ever." Floating candle just fell on my head.
Love it.
Like, I don't know. They're real. It's fucking real.
It
It's real.
wax dropping on the kids and shit.
There's a great it's like one of the opening shots when they drop Harry off at his uncle and aunt's house after the parents die or whatever, and Hagrid, like, flies him in. It's on a soundstage. Like, the whole street that they did that they shot was built on a soundstage
Mhm.
inside a room. And then, like, later on, when they had bigger budgets and different directors and stuff like that, they just shot it out in, like, a, you know, a UK street or whatever, and it's okay. It's okay. But it's like, like the magic to me of making movies is, like, a fuckload of people put the work in to build a city inside of a building.
In the back of your head too, like the
Tim Burton Batman,
it might sell like, by
same
like
deal.
looking at it, but in the back of your head, the CG is just
A cartoon.
you just know it is,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
Even if it's like defying all technological everything, like most
Yeah.
amazing thing ever,
Ambient occlusion and all the good shit.
it just something about the back of your head just knows that's a cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like in the Iron Man thing when he's breaking out of the cave in the bulky suit,
Mhm.
that's I think like 90% of the shots are real. There's a couple where bits explode that they did a full CG, but they're intercut so quick that and maybe it's obscured by fire. And I know that like most of the effects work they did on that is adding like there's like a spinning fan in the back. Like that was
Mm.
CG. But the suit was real.
Yeah.
They tracked that in just to make it look more like it's
Like I
a
said,
live
practical
machine.
enhanced with CG.
Practical enhanced with CG is the best way to do it. Yeah.
Why not? Thanks
Again,
for
I'll send you that behind the scenes on The Substance. Really cool. I don't
please.
give a shit about that movie. It's not really my
No, I like
cup of
body
tea.
horror stuff too, though. I like stuff where, like, people, it's practically done and it's like a silicone thing that's pulling up. I like shit like that. It's
It
fun.
was just cool. The way that they made it be LA was cool because they just imported a bunch of palm trees
Yeah.
and just, based on the camera angle, a lot of it's like pointing straight up from below. So it's like,
Mm.
we're in LA now. It just
That's
works.
fucking funny.
There's a thing where there's a time lapse where they're all walking over her Hollywood star.
Mm.
And it's like, first people are like installing it, then taking pictures with it. And then as time goes on, they start walking on it and it gets all degraded. Like that was all just done in a room like this.
Mhm.
They just put that on the ground and it
It's
was very
cool.
clever filmmaking.
But that's the thing when you okay, so I feel like, and this is my issue with CG in general, it amplifies the "we'll just fix it in post" mentality,
Yeah.
and it's like now you're planning ahead of time to fix something in post, as opposed to, like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
where's the creativity? Where's the because the thing is, like, when you do something practical and it doesn't work out right, and you have a CG person who can be like, "Well, we can fix that." That's where it should come in. When you plan initially, okay, look at the tennis ball. The tennis ball is the love of your life. Like, what the fuck are you like? What? Like, what are you doing? Like, and I guess in some specific scenarios it makes sense. But like they made Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was literally a mix of live action and animated characters, and they made that before CG was like a big thing. So it's just the same thing over and over again. I don't know. It's not my favorite.
I
CG is not my favorite. I want to get creative. I want to feel physical props. I want to do stuff like that. You know.
There was another random video I watched that broke my heart, and it was like, oh, I think it was like something about how modern SpongeBob is animated because it used to be
Mm,
cell animation,
yeah,
um,
hand drawn.
hand drawn cell animation, meaning they took photos on film stock
Of the
of
each individual
each
drawing. Yeah,
individual cells,
like Disney
and
did it
so
nowadays.
you can buy them too. People collect them and stuff. It's
I
kind of cool.
I bet they're worth a lot of money.
Um, and it was like apparently SpongeBob is still hand drawn, but then they have a second team go in and draw over it with vector. So
That's
they draw the cells, full size sheets, canvas. They draw the cells,
scan them in.
scan them, and then it's already there, ready to go. But instead, they have someone take it into Flash or whatever,
Mhm.
Photoshop, and draw vector lines over it. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Like it certainly can't be cheaper. You're doing it twice.
Well, that's the
I
other
think
thing too.
it's just like, well, it's got to look that way. Like, really? Does it?
Well, see, that's the thing is, like, to me, that's when you say, like, "Oh, this is cinema," or "This isn't cinema," not you, but people who judge stuff. When it comes to movies, SpongeBob's obviously not a movie, but there is a SpongeBob. Um, to me, cinema is the three-sided room, you know?
Yeah, it's a play.
With yeah. It's the built set. You're acting, and it's called acting because you're acting as if it's real.
I just don't understand why, like, who decided that people wouldn't like that
I
organic feel
know.
to things?
I know.
Who's like,
I
because
know.
people openly hate it. And
Yeah,
and for
I
some
don't
reason, it's
understand it.
just like, well, we got to do it that way.
Yeah,
Uh,
says fucking who? That's my mentality. And if you don't like it, then don't watch my movie. But I'm not making. That's the thing is, I don't make movies for other people. I make movies for me. I make movies because I like them. I want to work on this music video thing with you because I think it's a cool idea, not because somebody else might think it's a cool idea. You know
hey, brother, you know what I just thought of? What we should do next time
what?
we do a podcast?
Yeah, whatever you
Just
want.
like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. So
Mm,
1 and 2, and then the third one's dark. We should
mm.
find things we don't agree on next time.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay. I feel like yeah, we probably
We
could.
should find something we could debate
I
about.
do need to argue with somebody. I feel like I haven't had a big blowout argument with anybody in a while, and like they're fun. It like works out your mental. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just
When
like
you're
to
like,
fight.
yeah,
I
that's what I'm saying. Like
I
sometimes
hate
I like
fight.
to fight. Have you seen? There's a great commercial of like a lady who's very upset, and it's not a commercial, but it's a little short thing skit. She walks into a place and she's like, "There's mold on these strawberries" or some shit, and the lady behind the counter is like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here's your refund," and she's like, That's it?" And the lady behind the counter is like, "Oh, did you wanna fight?" That's the greatest thing. And
That's
she's
pretty
like,
good.
"Yeah, a little bit."
Dude, that's
She
actually
goes, "Well,
like
do
how
you
I look.
have your receipt?" And they start, like, play fighting because it's, like, to scratch that itch, which I think is funny.
That is actually wicked funny.
Sometimes I
That's
like an
like actually,
argument.
that's like legitimately, just like I was saying with the directing thing. That's like my approach to most things in life. Like
Mm,
when someone's like, like they just, you can smell it. They want conflict. I'm just like, oh, okay.
I guess we're gonna do it that way then. Yeah, that's
And
funny.
you get to see it switch in people's head. They go, oh,
Oh,
this guy's not gonna fight with me.
if you
Damn
stay
it.
calm when someone's upset, it diffuses it so quickly. Like, if you just don't pay any attention to the anger thing, you're like, "Yeah, well, we can fix it this way."
Yeah, or you just say like, yeah, you're right. That sucks.
Yeah. Right there with you, man. Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh,
You're like, all right.
well, fuck you then." Like,
Yeah,
guess I'm not upset
especially
no more.
around here.
Oh, dude, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Thank you so much for doing
Thanks for
this
having me
today.
back.
Dude, and literally
Congrats on the
anytime
new
you want.
studio.
If you got thank you. Yeah, it was
Place is kind of a dump, but
labor of love. Dump love.
you're still working on it.
It's a work in progress.
Just kidding.
I know.
Look, it smells so good in here.
Yeah. It's nice. I took a big dump before you walked out. Just kidding.
I'll take a big one before I leave.
Please don't. If there's a conference room down the hall you can use.
There's no toilet paper in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like keeping it that way. People don't shit there, It's a number one bathroom.
What are you gonna do though if an emergency?
Go to the conference room.
You've got the toilet paper. You just don't
Yeah, I don't
leave
want
it in the
people
bathroom.
shitting in my bathroom.
Kind of twisted, but
It's my bathroom. You want to shit in a bathroom? Build your own fucking bathroom.
keep
Thank
that
you,
in
Sam.
mind next time I come over.
Mondays, Nick Williams Show.